In this podcast episode, renowned psychologist Guy Winch delves into the pervasive impact of stress, particularly work-related stress, on our personal relationships and emotional well-being. He explores how unresolved emotional wounds influence relationship choices and dynamics, the psychological nature of stress and burnout, and practical tools to manage mental health challenges. Throughout the conversation, Winch emphasizes the importance of mindset, emotional regulation, and intentional self-care to maintain healthy relationships and thrive despite life's pressures. Guy Winch explains that stress experienced in the workplace does not remain isolated but often spills over into home life, profoundly affecting partners and family members. When one partner is chronically stressed, the other, even if not employed, can develop symptoms of burnout, illustrating the powerful transfer of stress between individuals in close relationships. This spillover can reduce intimacy, diminish sex drive, and increase frustration. Often, people mistakenly believe they can compartmentalize work stress, yet unconscious resentment and mental fatigue seep into interactions with loved ones, undermining harmony and connection. Winch highlights that many relationship struggles stem from unhealed emotional wounds within individuals rather than flaws in their partners. These inner wounds shape whom we choose to enter relationships with and how we tolerate unhealthy patterns over time. Healing starts with introspection, encouraging individuals to ask themselves why they remain in unsatisfying or harmful partnerships. Change often triggers a natural cleaning house process where toxic people fade away, replaced by healthier connections. Recognizing the relationship between internal healing and external relationship quality can empower people to make better choices and cultivate more fulfilling interactions across all domains: romantic, friendships, and work. Contrary to the popular notion of a midlife crisis, Winch explains that periods of relationship reevaluation typically arise from external stressors or life changes rather than age-related crises. Significant events such as a global pandemic or personal trauma force people to reconsider their relationship health, pushing them toward either greater closeness or disconnection. For those not naturally confronted by crises, he suggests creating intentional moments of self-reflection to evaluate personal happiness and relationship satisfaction, challenging the autopilot mode most people live in. Work stress plays a dominant role in straining intimate and familial relationships. Winch discusses how the modern workplace's demands and psychological pressures consume mental space, impairing emotional availability at home. When work stress is high, individuals may unknowingly undermine their partners, for example, by overriding household rules or withdrawing emotionally. The lack of clear boundaries and rituals separating work from home life exacerbates this problem, turning people into two-dimensional workers who neglect other aspects of their identity and relationships. Without intentional psychological separation, work and home life become blurred, fueling exhaustion and burnout. Stress is fundamentally psychological, shaped by how people perceive and interpret their experiences. Winch points out that chronic activation of fight-or-flight responses at work leaves little room for recovery once individuals come home. Continuous rumination about work-related conflicts or unfair treatment intensifies stress hormones like cortisol, preventing genuine relaxation and contributing to burnout. Thus, burnout is not simply a function of workload, but also of mental habits that prolong stress beyond the workplace. Learning to psychologically detach, significantly shifting mindset after work, and engaging in meaningful rituals is essential to interrupt these patterns. A key strategy for managing stress involves creating intentional rituals that signal the brain's transition from work mode to personal or family time. Winch suggests designing rituals that engage multiple senses, such as changing clothes, playing calming music, dimming lights, or using scent. These repeated actions condition the mind to unwind, restoring mental balance and reducing fight-or-flight activation. Additionally, clearly marking non-work time in calendars with labels like family time or chill mode helps the brain assign purposeful tasks to these periods, enhancing relaxation and recharging. Contrary to popular belief, passive relaxation, such as binge-watching TV or doom-scrolling social media, does not effectively recharge the brain when dealing with mental exhaustion. Winch notes that mental fatigue requires active forms of recharging tailored to the individual, whether sports, creative pursuits, social engagement, or hobbies. These activities revitalize mental and emotional energy, improve sleep quality, and boost well-being. Hence, combating burnout demands a balance of relaxation and purposeful engagement rather than mere inactivity. Winch elaborates on how rumination perpetuates stress by repeatedly triggering cortisol release and keeping the mind stuck in unproductive cycles. Intrusive thoughts about workplace slights or unfair treatment feel involuntary and can dominate mental space, disrupting presence in personal life. To break free, one must identify the underlying emotions fueling rumination and then translate worries into concrete problem-solving questions. For example, reflecting on whether and how to address issues with a boss shifts the mind from passive distress to active strategizing, reducing stress and restoring control. Winch encourages people to reframe their perspective on work, emphasizing that though certain moments are stressful, much of the time work is neutral or even enjoyable. By adjusting language from "my job is very stressful" to "my job has stressful moments," individuals reduce overall perceived pressure. He recommends deliberately creating small moments of joy during the workday, such as listening to favorite music, sharing humor with colleagues, or anticipating a comforting lunch to balance stress and enhance resilience. This mindful engagement can transform how people experience their professional lives. A crucial insight Winch shares is the destructive effect of internal self-bullying on emotional health and relationships. Negative self-talk, labeling oneself ugly, stupid, or a loser, is abusive and far more damaging than criticism from others because it perpetuates relentlessly within the mind. Such internal voices erode self-respect and motivation, trapping people in negative cycles. Winch advocates recognizing this harmful inner voice as a distinct, destructive part of oneself that must be challenged and removed through ongoing cognitive retraining and compassionate self-dialogue. Winch extends his concept of emotional first aid, underscoring the need for critical but kindness-based self-assessment when confronted with life's failures or stresses. He advises setting limits on how long one permits themselves to feel bad about setbacks, after which a neutral, blame-free analysis of obstacles and actionable solutions should follow. This shift from self-punishment to compassionate problem-solving fosters recovery and growth. He also emphasizes the lifelong process of balancing accountability with self-kindness as foundational to emotional resilience. Regarding communication challenges, Winch notes that for some couples, arguing via text or email may be less emotionally volatile than face-to-face confrontations, because writing allows for calmer reflection and editing of responses. Text provides a clear record of exchanges, which can reduce miscommunication. Although arguments can still escalate online, having a written dialogue sometimes prevents impulsive, hurtful outbursts and promotes clearer communication dynamics, especially for explosive or easily triggered individuals. Winch observes that while AI is increasingly used to interpret interactions or draft communications in relationships, it tends to reflect users' biases and desires rather than objective truth. People often consult AI to validate whether text messages are hostile or to decode romantic interest, but AI currently provides sanitized, theory-laden feedback that may not always be accurate. However, AI can be beneficial for crafting sensitive conversations or seeking ideas to express feelings thoughtfully. How AI's role evolves in intimate relationships will depend on its future sophistication and users' intentions. Expressing romantic interest directly can be challenging due to fears of vulnerability and misinterpretation. Winch explains that early declarations of affection may trigger insecurity or distancing in partners with low self-esteem, who might misread genuine liking as love bombing or feel unworthy. He advises tempered and honest communication that acknowledges the limited knowledge at the start of dating and emphasizes discovery rather than certainty. Cultural shifts and social media influence have complicated modern dating scripts, sometimes leading people to overanalyze benign expressions of interest. Entering relationships while carrying unhealed emotional wounds often leads to conflict or unhealthy patterns. Winch recommends couples openly acknowledge their individual struggles and maintain ongoing dialogue about emotional triggers, boundaries, and evolving needs. An attitude of mutual support and curiosity about each other's stuff fosters growth and reduces blame. Early commitment to personal growth, such as joint or individual therapy, helps partners develop insight and healing capacity. Recognizing that wounds surface but can be managed collaboratively enhances long-term relationship stability. To reignite love and passion, Winch suggests couples recreate the experience of an early memorable date, including environmental cues like location, clothing, and ambiance. This immersive time travel helps partners reconnect with the excitement and uncertainty of new love, reviving emotional closeness often dampened by routine and fatigue. The preparation and shared activity become a playful project that stimulates positive memories and reinforces the bond. Some couples even preserve physical reminders from this reenactment to sustain that renewed emotional connection. Emphasizing agency, Winch teaches that although external events often lie beyond control, individuals retain significant power over their thoughts and how they respond emotionally. This control shapes perception, stress levels, and ultimately reality. Learning to challenge unhelpful automatic thoughts, silence the inner critic, and reshape narrative framing enables people to reclaim well-being. This mental mastery is difficult but crucial for overcoming burnout, healing wounds, and fostering fulfilling lives and relationships. Reflecting personally, Guy Winch defines greatness as a continuous process of self-improvement fueled by curiosity and commitment to mastering oneself and one's responses to life's challenges. It involves embracing change, learning new skills, and striving to become the best possible version of oneself amid evolving circumstances, a journey rather than a fixed destination. This perspective highlights resilience, adaptability, and purposeful growth as the core of a meaningful existence.